Warm welcome to everyone to this webinar on wealth consciousness. I am Devaki. I am the Master Instructor and Certificate of Science in Theta Healing. This webinar is a precursor to the Theta Healing Wealth Consciousness Seminar that's going to happen on 11th, 12th and 13th of this month, that is September. So Mark Anthony from Australia is the creator of this Wealth Consciousness Seminar, and he is going to teach and I'm going to host it. So Mark Anthony has a vast experience in Theta Healing, and he's also an event coordinator of Theta Healing for Australia. He has been teaching the Wealth Conscious Seminar that he has created since many years, in several countries actually, and to hundreds and hundreds of students. And I being one of them actually. So it's really a privilege to have him here giving us this free webinar today. So let's welcome Mark Anthony. So thank you very much, Mark, for being kind enough to offer us this webinar today by sparing your most valuable time. Thank you. Over to you, Mark.
And I'm really excited to have this opportunity to share this time with you all, because I believe that all of us have come here to achieve great success in our lives and to make a really positive difference on the planet. And I believe that the way to do that is to raise your wealth consciousness, to raise your awareness, to allow in the abundance that is already there. Because if you understand how wealth truly works, all the wealth that you have ever desired lies within you and not outside of you. And once you allow yourself to begin to see the wealth that is truly inside you, that's when you'll allow yourself to experience it in the physical. And to give you a little bit of insight about myself, because many of you may not know me, but 16 years ago, I was just feeling really tired. I went to see my chiropractor, who believes in preventative maintenance. So if you go and see him regularly, you won't get sick. And basically what happened with an over-aggressive manipulation, he broke 2 ribs and a vertebrae. So I ended up with 4 fractures. 1 fracture on my left rib, 2 fractures on the right rib, and a fracture on the vertebrae. And basically from that, the doctors told me you need to rest. It'll take 6 to 8 weeks to get better. And at the time I had my own business in the construction industry. I'm actually an engineer by profession. And 6 weeks went by, 8 weeks went by, I wasn't getting any better. And so I went back to the doctor to get more tests done. And what they found was, they sent me for an x-ray. And what they found in the x-ray was there was some sort of infection in my vertebrae. And it was really funny at the time, actually, because the radiographer came out of the room and he sat about 5 meters away from me. And he said to me, listen, it's totally up to you, but you can go and see your local doctor tomorrow, but he's going to do exactly the same thing for you. He said, I've already rung the hospital and told them that you're on your way. He said, it looks like you've got TB. So the positive out of that for me was I had no idea. Yeah, so the positive out of that for me was I had no idea what TB was. So all of a sudden, I go to hospital and they put a face mask on me. They make me sit away from everybody else. And at that point, I began to realize that maybe this is serious. And so I went and had the test done for tuberculosis. I didn't have tuberculosis. And so they began doing more tests to identify what was wrong with me, because there was an infection that was eating away at the bones. And the neurosurgeon, the infectious diseases doctor, actually drew it out for me. And it was basically, this was T6 vertebrae, this was the disc, and this was T7. And how he drew it out was there was deformity of T6, damage to the disc, and partial collapse of T7. And so coming from the family that I did, I had a lot of belief in the medical industry. So I wasn't really concerned because I believed in the doctors and I believed that they could help me. So they did all these tests and biopsies and all sorts of things, including like a major surgery as a biopsy. And the doctors basically came back and said to me, look, Mark, there's nothing more that we can do for you. You have to go home and hope for the best. And so it was a real wake-up call for me, because like I had total faith in the medical industry, but all of a sudden they're saying they can't help me anymore. And that was really devastating. And so what happened was I went to see my naturopath, and she was giving me some vitamins and also gave me this book. She said, this is a course that I did a few years ago. There may be something in it for you. And it's Diana's first book. And basically when I took this book away and began reading this book, I just had that feeling, whatever this is it. And I knew this was going to work. So I found a practitioner in Australia. So Sunday I got the book, Monday I called them. Tuesday they rang me back. We booked a consultation for the Thursday. Half the pain in my back disappeared. And then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I took a theta healing class. And at the end of that weekend, my wife and my daughter, my 2-year-old daughter, came to pick me up. And my daughter came running up to me, Daddy, Daddy, carry me. And my wife is freaking out. No, he can't. And that's because the neurosurgeon said to me that if I pick up a shopping bag, it would collapse my spine. But I knew I was better. And so I picked up my daughter, and I never looked back from that day. And then it was about a month or 6 weeks later that Diana was coming to Australia. And so I went to do the instructor's classes just to meet the lady who gave me my life back. And it was really cool, because in the class she said, 80% of you will go on and teach this work. And I remember thinking, thank God I'm in the 20%, because I had no intention of becoming a healer or a teacher. I had no intention of doing any of that. But all of a sudden, I was just really excited to be alive. And my family and friends saw the difference in me. They saw that I was half dead and then completely healed in the space of like a few days. And so they were coming to me asking me for healings, saying, whatever you've done, can we have some too? And so that felt amazing when I was doing that. So once I got better, I was looking to get back into engineering or construction. And everything I did in those areas, it was like these brick walls would come up in front of me. Everything I did related to theta healing, it was like the red carpet was rolled out in front of me. And so I realized that maybe this is what I'm meant to be doing. And it was really profound, because I had an amazing result. And I had clients that were coming to me that were having amazing results. But then I was having clients that were coming that weren't having amazing results. And I having an engineering mind, I couldn't understand why it worked for some people and why it didn't work for others. And so I began studying why it worked for some people and why it didn't work for other people. And that was probably like a really profound turning point in my own life, because I had studied many things before theta healing came into my life. But there was always something missing, and I didn't really understand how everything truly fit together, because I was brought up in a Catholic family, very religious family, going to church every Sunday and that sort of thing. And I guess there was an unconscious conflict for me with the whole spirituality side of things. And it wasn't until theta healing came along that it all made sense. So I believe that we create our reality. Everything is a perfect manifestation. So that very first session I had, the issue that we dealt with was resentment towards my father. Now, if somebody had told me I was resenting my father before that day, I would have laughed at them, because he was a wonderful man. But unfortunately, he passed away when I was 16. And I used to tell people that there was so much more that he had to teach me. So what happened was, that's a harmless statement. But because he had to teach me more things, and because he didn't, it meant that I missed out, and it meant that he let me down. And so I built an unconscious resentment towards him, which created that infection in my vertebrae. And then the bones are about connection to God. So growing up in a religious family and then getting into spirituality, I created a division in my own mind. It was either I was spiritual or I was Catholic. It was one or the other. And so I created that separation for myself. And that's what created the broken bones, because both broken bones are about connection to God. And so there was a number of other factors as well, but it was basically a perfect manifestation. But once I allowed myself to see the love that was truly there in my life, all of a sudden I was able to heal. And one really profound thing that happened for me while I was in hospital was a beautiful gentleman was diagonally opposite me in the hospital bed. I was in the cardiothoracic ward where they do the heart bypass operations, because from a medical perspective, one of the biopsies they did for me is called an open thoracoscopy, which is major surgery. And basically, this man got his results. And as soon as the doctors and the nurses came in and they were giving him his results, they said to him, look, all we need to do is give you a pacemaker. This man started freaking out and started swearing at the doctors and nurses, got out of the bed, was dressing himself. He's saying he's checking himself out of the hospital. And his wife is there and she's crying. And it was really profound, because in that moment, I just felt to myself, it was like, God, if there is something out there that can help people, show me what it is. And then I went back to being half dead. See, the story with this man was he owns a bus. And in Australia, if you have a pacemaker, you're not allowed to drive a bus. And that's why he was having such a negative reaction to the positive news, because the doctors were saying that they could help him really easily. And so I realized at that time that there was, well, I didn't realize until a while later, but basically what happened for me in that moment was it created a purpose for me. I had a bigger purpose. I had something to live for. And that's what was the big shift in my life. And so basically, with all the study that I did of the people that would heal and the people that wouldn't heal, I put all that information together. And that's where I created the Wealth Consciousness class. Because healing yourself is really a simple process. If we are truly one with all that is, and that is what theta healing teaches, that's what majority of spiritual techniques and religions teach us, is that we're one with that all that is energy. And if that is true, then healing for us has to be simple. It cannot be a difficult process. If we are one with all that is, healing has to be simple. And it comes down to our belief systems. It comes down to our thoughts. It comes down to our consciousness. And to give you a perfect example of that, you know, we're currently experiencing this whole coronavirus situation around the world. And I've got one of my students who's been doing a lot of work on herself, and she's made really profound changes in her own life. But 2 weeks ago, her mother and her sister got the coronavirus, and they're both ill. They're at home, so they're not that bad that they're in hospital or anything like that, but they're both very ill from the coronavirus, and she's been taking care of them. And yesterday, the hospital sent a nurse to do a test on her to check to see if she had the virus as well. And she's been there taking care of them for 2 weeks, and she didn't get the virus. So it just shows you how strong our belief systems are, how strong our consciousness is. And if you look at the emotional aspect related to viruses, it's all about worthiness. So we truly do create our reality. And it's important to understand that. And so our wealth basically comes from the consciousness that we are holding ourselves at. And your consciousness is just your awareness. So before I do the next diagram, so after I had my healing, I went back to see the doctor. And this is how he drew it out for me. T6 was perfect. The disc was perfect. And T7 had just a slight jagged edge on the top of it like that. And that was it. And I'd stopped all the medication that they gave me. I'd stopped everything. And it was just the healing that was what healed it. But if you look at our reality, so this is a cell inside our bodies. And when I teach the basic theta healing class, this is how I actually teach the feelings. So if this is a cell inside our body, this here is a receptor. Everything outside of the cell is the environment. So each of us has trillions of cells. So this here is love. This here is sadness. This here is love. And this is happiness. So for this person, the only receptor that they have is the one for sadness. So from an unconscious perspective, all they're doing is calling in whatever sadness is out there. There is love and happiness in the environment, but because they don't have the receptor, they're not able to experience that. So for this person, love and happiness do not exist. So when we teach feelings, what we do is we open new receptors. So all of a sudden now, this person has the receptor for love, sadness, and happiness. So their life is actually much better now. But the truth is, the environment is still exactly the same. The environment hasn't changed at all. All we've done is allowed ourselves to experience more of the abundance that is already in the environment. And that's really the basis of what we're doing. All we're doing is opening ourselves up to the abundance that is already there. So whether it's money or health or anything else that you desire, there is an abundance of it out there for you. But it's just about allowing ourselves to open up to that abundance and allowing ourselves to receive it. And so as far as your wealth consciousness is concerned, the more you allow yourself to experience of that abundance, the greater your wealth consciousness is going to be. But here's the important thing, is it starts within you. You are first cause in your life. And there's a really good example of that. And there was a study that was done. They took a photo of a busy street. There was thousands of people in this photo. And they took the photo to a jail and showed it to 50 murderers and rapists. And they said to them, out of this picture, which one person would you attack? And 49 out of 50 picked exactly the same person. And basically what that tells us is that we are sending our belief systems out into the universe. So that person in that picture had a belief system that they're sending out saying that they are a victim. Those perpetrators had a belief system that they were sending out saying they need a victim. And that's why they were being attracted to each other. So all the circumstances, all the conditions of our lives are a direct result of the messages that we are sending out. And that's why it is so important when we do the belief work and we allow ourselves to change the messages that we're sending out into the universe, because that allows us to have a whole new experience with life. And so wealth for me is more than money, right? Money is important, but money is just a form of exchange. It is just what we use to exchange for goods and services. Yeah. So basically money is just an energy. And with all energy, you either allow that into your life or you repel it, right? But money is just what's going to allow you to purchase the things that you desire in your life. Wealth consciousness for me is about creating balance in all the areas of your life. So having that financial wealth, but also having the relationships, also having the health, and also having like abundance in all the aspects of your life. That's the key to creating wealth, because when you create wealth in that way, it becomes so rewarding. If you just have financial wealth, then you can have struggles in other areas. When I created my success, I was a millionaire by a very young age. I didn't come from a wealthy family, but I created a lot of success very early on. But the thing was, it was just financial success. I felt empty in so many areas of my life, and I truly didn't understand why. And then I ended up sabotaging that success. But when I've created it again now, I've created it very differently. I've got the financial success, but I've got the balance in all the areas of my life. And so I'm excited to wake up in the morning. I'm excited to go about my life and do the things that I'm passionate about. And that's what I like to see for you, because you can create that sort of life where you have abundance in all the areas of your life. And it really is a simple process. But the first step is starting with money, because money is just what we use to exchange for goods and services. The biggest problem that I see with money is so many people relate their self-worth or their value based on the amount of money they have. And that's something that comes from society, but it's important to let go of that thinking. Your relationship with money is very important. If you have a healthy relationship with money, then you're going to allow it into your life. If you have an unhealthy relationship with money, you're going to push it away. If you have a friend who comes to visit your house and you like this friend, you really care about this friend, you're excited when they come to the door, you open the door, you're welcoming them in, you're getting them drinks, you're getting them food, you're doing whatever you can, and you want them to stay there as long as possible. So you love that person, you love having them in your life. But if you have a person who you don't like that comes to your house, you're dreading opening the door. And then when they come in, you can't wait to get that person out of there. Every minute that they're there feels like an hour. And it's a real stress. You can't wait to get rid of that person. Money is exactly the same way. If you have a healthy relationship with money, you're going to allow it into your life. You're going to welcome it into your life, and you're going to be happy to keep it. And that's one of the key things that we look at doing in the wealth consciousness class, is about creating that healthy mindset with money. But it's really important to clear some key things about money. And one of the first things that's really important to clear when it comes to money is the consciousness of money being good or bad, right? So there is, like, religious beliefs or even spiritual beliefs around money being the root of all evil. Now, that saying actually comes from the Bible, but if you read the full statement, it says the love of money is the root of all evil. So when you love money above people, that's when it can be the root to evil. But see, it's not just money that can be the root to evil as well. You've had people in loving relationships and they end up having arguments, and that love can lead to evil. They, hurting somebody else over their relationship, or hurting somebody else because of somebody. That many things can be the root to evil. It's money itself is not good or bad. Money is just an energy. If it is in good hands, there will be good done with that money. If it is in bad hands, then there will be bad things done with that money. And that's what's really important to understand. So money itself is not good or bad. It is just an energy, right? And then a lot of people are addicted to worrying about money. And a lot of that comes from our childhood upbringing. Our parents' relationship with money plays a big role in our lives, because in the first 6 years of your development, the first 2 years of your life, you're in a delta brainwave. The next 4 years, you're in a theta brainwave. So the first 6 years of your life, you're in a semi-conscious state. And that's why they say that children are like sponges. They just take everything in. It's because we're in those unconscious states, but they're the years where the majority of our belief systems are being formed. Our frontal lobe is being formed at that time. It doesn't fully form until around 21 for women and a little bit later for men. But the first 6 years is where the majority of those belief systems are coming in. And we're watching our parents, we're seeing their relationship with money. And that often plays a big role in how we experience money in our adult life. So it's important to recognize some of those belief systems and change that consciousness, because that could be limiting you because of your parents' experience with money. So releasing worry is really important. Another thing that's really important to release is guilt. And for many people, this is huge, but it's very unconscious. A lot of people have belief systems that it's wrong for them to have more than their parents, or it's wrong for them to have more than their siblings. I know myself when I was younger, because I created a lot of success financially at a young age. And being the youngest in my family, I have an elder brother and 2 older sisters. So being the youngest in the family, once I created that success, one of the key contributors to me sabotaging that abundance was feeling that it was wrong for me to have more than my siblings. And so if you have those sorts of belief systems, and that can really limit you as well. And then a really big one that comes up for a lot of people is the idea of time associated with money, because generally people are trading their time for money. As long as you're trading your time for money, there's a couple of things that are going to limit the amount of abundance that you can create in your own life. And the first thing is the value that has been placed on your time. So who has determined how much your time is worth? Because whatever you're being paid per hour is going to determine the amount of money that you can make. But who is it that has set that time? Is it something that you've set for yourself, or has somebody else set that for you? I had a girl that I worked on. She was charging $50 an hour for a healing session, and she would do the healing session in an hour, and sometimes it would take longer. But in the evenings when she was going to sleep, energetically, the clients that she worked with that day were coming to her, and she was having to spend hours doing more healings with them. And when we got down to the bottom of it, we found that her very first job, she was a waitress, and it was working in a friend of the family's restaurant. And she really respected this man. And he said to her, he said, "You're worth $10 an hour." And so she had this unconscious belief that she was worth $10 an hour. And even though she was charging $50 an hour, she had to spend extra time to make up for, or to give those people the value that they were paying for. And so if you've got a lower value, then you're going to be limiting the amount of money you're going to allow yourself to receive. So as long as you're believing you have to trade time for money, you're going to limit yourself. Because to create success in your life, it's really important that you have multiple sources of income. But as long as you're having to trade your time for money, you're going to limit yourself. So it's important that you create multiple sources of income. Another thing that comes up, and this can really hold you back, is resentment towards money. If you have resentment towards money, then you're going to make sure you keep it away from you. And resentment is your subconscious mind's most powerful tool in keeping you safe. So if you resent something, you're going to make sure you keep it away from you. So if we use an example of a man who was physically abused by his father. So as he gets older, he's being physically abused, and that resentment builds up. And then the resentment builds up to a point where he decides to leave that house. And so now he's left the house, he's living on his own, and he's no longer getting physically abused. From a subconscious perspective, that resentment is the best thing that's ever happened to him. And so now the subconscious is keeping him safe by keeping that resentment in place. But as long as you have a resentment, that resentment has to be running 24/7 in your mind. It has to be constantly running to make sure that it keeps you safe. And so if your mind is filled with this resentment, what's going to happen is you're going to block your manifestations, because the energy that it's putting towards a resentment is taking focus away from your manifestations. So if you resent money, then you're going to make sure that you're constantly pushing that away from you. So there's some of the key things that come up in relation to money, and we go through those in a lot more detail in the workshop. So clearing your issues around money, because that is really important, because money is the energy that we use today to allow ourselves to create the lifestyle that we desire. So money is not something that is going to motivate you. If you're just manifesting like a dollar amount, it's not really going to be a motivation. Money just gives you choices. It's what you do with, it's the choices that you have that are going to motivate you to create that physical money, right? And another thing that's really important to understand about money is, if you take all the money that is in all the bank accounts around the world, and it varies from country to country, but on average, only about 4% of that money is actually in physical circulation. So the majority of the money that is in all the bank accounts around the world is just numbers on a computer screen. That's all it is. It's just an energy. So if you have an extra $100 million in your account, it's not going to make a difference to the planet. It's just numbers on a computer screen. So there is no limit to the amount of money that you can have and that everybody else on this planet can have in their bank accounts. It is infinite, because it's just more numbers on computer screens. And that's important to understand, because that proves to us that money is just an energy. If you go to the bank and ask to withdraw a large amount of cash, you can't do it. You need to give them a few days' notice. And the reason why you need to give them a few days' notice is so that they can organize for that money to be brought to that branch so that you can actually withdraw that money. And that's because there's a limited supply of the physical money. And that's important to understand. So if you look in the 1920s, when the Great Depression happened, this isn't what caused it, but it greatly accelerated it, because so many people rushed to the banks to try and withdraw their money and they couldn't get it. That's why it accelerated the Great Depression. So it's important that we're aware that money is just an energy, and like all energy, you're either attracting it or you're repelling it from you. So what's really important to understand is you have your belief systems around money. So you have your own blocks, you have your own limitations in relation to money. But for a lot of people, another major contributor to their money issues is their boundary issues. And that can be like the consciousness of the land that they're living in. So for example, some of the work that I've had to do on myself living here in Australia is about the consciousness of the people here, because Australia was originally set up as a convict colony. They took all the convicts from England and they set them up here. So there was a consciousness of being convicts and to a degree, slavery, you could say. So I had to release myself from that consciousness. So it's important to look at the land that you're living in and seeing what the consciousness is of that land, because that could be something that is holding you back. So if there was slavery in your country, then it could be that you're carrying that consciousness of the land. You may have positive belief systems that you love your country, that you love the land that you live in. But part of that could be having to take on the energy of the land as well. And if you have to take on the energy of the land as well, then that could be diminishing your abundance. So there's a lot of key aspects there that will stop you from creating success and abundance in your life just based around money. But once we go through that, when we go beyond our money issues, then all of a sudden it becomes about how do we create the life that we desire? And one of the key things is to understand quantum physics. Well, you don't need a great understanding, but just a basic understanding of quantum physics, because quantum physics is the study of energy. So if you take the chair that you're sitting on down to the smallest particle, it is a moving energy, and it's often called quanta. If you take your physical body down to the smallest particle, it is the same moving energy, also that quanta. So the quanta that makes up your physical body is the same quanta that makes up all the world around you. But here's what's really interesting is that the energy that makes you up is not exclusive to you. It is constantly changing. So the quanta that makes you up, that is in your leg right now, could now be in your wall. And it doesn't matter, because that is how the universe works. And so the energy that is in the world knows what the other energy is doing. So the energy is beyond space and time. So you are sending your messages out into the universe, and you are creating and experiencing your life based on your words, thoughts, and actions of yesterday. So everything that you're experiencing today is based on your words, thoughts, actions of yesterday. So when you change those in this moment now, you are creating a new tomorrow for yourself. So it's important to understand from a quantum physics perspective that this is your tomorrow. It is a blank page. It hasn't been created yet. And what's important to understand is that the creator can manifest anything that you desire in an instant. It doesn't take time for the creator to manifest something. If you were to win the lottery tonight and have 100 million euros, then all of a sudden your financial issues have disappeared. If you have always struggled with relationships and you walk out the front of your building and you bump into your divine life partner, in an instant, your relationship issues have disappeared. Your health issues can do the same thing. 16 years ago, I was half dead, and then I was completely healed. And all of it came about because I chose a different consciousness. I had a purpose. I had a reason to live. The benefits for staying sick were no longer greater than the benefits of being healthy. And that's why I chose that different path. But see, it's important to understand that how do we shift that consciousness? How do we make that change from being stuck in our conditions, being stuck in our circumstances? Because whatever you're experiencing today is true for you. Whatever your relationship issues are, your health issues, your financial issues, whatever you're experiencing today is real for you. So how do we step beyond that? And this is how we do it. So it's really important that we become really clear and focused on what it is that we're choosing to experience in our lives. The first step is having a clear picture, a clear image in your mind of the life that you desire. Life is images of the mind expressed. So when you are manifesting something, what is it that you are manifesting? Do you have it written down? Do you have it somewhere where you can look at it, where it doesn't change? Because generally what happens is people are constantly chopping and changing with what it is that they want to manifest. So for example, if you walk into a travel agent and you sit down in front of that travel agent and you tell them, I would like to travel, and then you just sit there, they can't help you until you tell them where you would like to go. And then if you tell them, I would like to go to New York and to Paris at the same time, they can't help you do that either. But then it's like, well, hang on, I'm not sure if I really want to travel. And so basically what we're doing is we're constantly sending mixed messages to the universe. We're not clear about what it is that we're choosing to create in our lives. And so the universe continues to give us confused results. But when you have a clear and definite picture, it becomes easy. So for example, if you type into, your GPS, take me somewhere, it's not going to do anything. But when you type in an address, not only will it show you how to get there, it will give you options of how to get there. And that's the same thing with manifesting. When you have a definite image of what it is that you're choosing to create in your life, then all of a sudden the universe will show you how to bring it into your life. But the key is having that image first. But to take things the next step too is, first step is having the image, having a clear picture of what it is that you're choosing to create in your life. The second step is understanding why it's important to you to actually have that. And that is a real key, because when I was younger, I wanted to become an accountant. And luckily in the Australian school system, we have what they call the work experience program, where you get to go and work in a company for a week while you're at school, just to get an idea of whether you actually like that job or not. And so I went and worked in an accounting company, and in all honesty, the first 4 days were horrible. I absolutely hated it. But the 5th day was amazing. And the reason why it was amazing was because this company, every Friday, they go and play golf. So up until that point, for me, I believed playing golf was like being a dog. You hit this ball as hard as you can, and then you go fetch it. But once I got out onto that golf course and I started hitting the ball, even though I was terrible, I was amazed at how relaxing it was. So I was so grateful that I wanted to become an accountant, because it made me realize that I really enjoyed golf, but I hated accounting. But here's the important part of that story. The reason why I wanted to be an accountant was because my father wanted me to be an accountant. So what I was doing was I was trying to live his dream. And when you're trying to live somebody else's dream, it becomes very hard work. And so it's really important to understand why you are choosing to manifest those things in your life, because when you are clear about why you're manifesting it, it will eliminate all the things that you're doing for everybody else and allow you to focus on the things that are truly important to you. Because when something's truly important to you, you will be passionate about it. And when you have passion for what you're doing, you love what you're doing. You enjoy waking up in the morning. You're excited about doing things. But when you're doing things for other people, even though you can enjoy helping people, but if you're living somebody else's purpose for them, it is going to be really hard work for you. So it's important that you have that clarification. And then the next step is recognizing what action you can take right now. What can you do right now that will help you get closer to achieving that manifestation? Because when you manifest things, it's important to do things over a long period of time. When I do my manifestations, I'm looking at over the next 30 years. So there are some things that are going to be short term, medium term, and then long term as well. And it's important to do that because it allows your mind to expand. When you manifest something and you're manifesting only one thing, if it does come in, then generally what happens is you change from that energy of creating and change your mindset to a space of holding. So you're trying to hold on to that goal that you've achieved. And the only reason why you need to hold on to something is that you believe that you can lose it. And so we shift our consciousness and we end up losing those things that we're manifesting. So it's really important that we have a number of things on our list because it allows us to keep growing. And it's every time you achieve something, add something else to that list. It's important that you're constantly growing your list of what you're looking to achieve in your life. And so recognizing the action that you can take right now, because the truth about manifesting, when you send it out into the universe creates it for you in an instant. So here's how it works. So let's say this is your manifestation, and you're manifesting all the things in all the different areas of your life. I go through 9 different areas. So there's 9 areas there. So we've manifested things in all those areas. So we send it out into the universe. The universe says, done. Here it is. This is where you are today. All you need to do to allow yourself to have that manifestation is to deal with this issue, this issue, this issue, and this issue. When you deal with those issues, it will raise your wealth consciousness or your awareness to the level of your manifestation. So when we manifest, this is the level of our vibration today, because everything is energy. The energy of our manifestation is up here. All we need to do to allow that manifestation into our lives is to raise our awareness to that level. When we raise our awareness to that level, that manifestation will show up instantly. That's how manifesting works. And you've all experienced it in your lives. There have been times where you didn't feel good about yourself and you see that your financial level drops. But then there's times where you do feel good about yourself and you see your finances rise to that level. The change happens in you first. You are first cause in your life. So when you change you allow that manifestation to show up in your life. So basically what happens is we get excited. And let's say, for example, our goal is to become a theta healer. So we start off really excited and we start off working towards our destination. And what happens is we go home and we tell our family, I'm so excited. I've just done this theta healing course. I'm becoming a healer. And they say to you, really? You? What do you know about healing? And so what happens is we start to think, maybe they're right. My family know me better than anybody. So we start getting distracted. And then we get to a point where we get frustrated and we think, you know what? I'm going to achieve my goal. And so what happens is we come back here and we get back on track. And now we're focused on our goal again. And then what happens is we bump into that friend, the one that everybody has. You know, the one that knows everything about everything. And we tell them, I'm so excited, I'm starting a theta healing business. And they look at you and they say, really? I know somebody who tried that once and they failed. And you know what happens is we sit there and we think, hang on, I know what that is. That's just your opinion. And we continue moving towards our destination. See, over here, there was an obstacle. And we kept our focus on our destination. So that obstacle was just like a speed hump. Over here, there was an obstacle, but we took our focus off the destination and we began focusing on the obstacle. And so we turned that obstacle into a mountain. When you stay focused on your destination, then your obstacles are not going to be a problem. It's when you take your focus away from the destination and start focusing on the obstacle, that's when the problems start. One of my favorite books is called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. It's an incredible book. And if you haven't read it, I recommend that everybody reads it because this is just amazing. But in that book, he says, behind every obstacle is an equal or greater opportunity. And that is really important. The only way you will see that greater opportunity behind that obstacle is if you keep focused on the destination. That is the key. When you stay focused on your destination, then you will see the opportunities that come from every obstacle. Even what we're experiencing at this time now with coronavirus and everything else that's happening around the world, I'm not sure what the situation is there where you live, but here in Australia at the moment, we're in lockdown. Like I'm in Sydney. So we're in like, high level lockdown, and it's been going for, I think, 7 weeks now or something like that. I think it's actually a bit longer. But when you focus on the obstacle, you get caught up in the drama. But when you focus on the destination, it doesn't matter what's happening outside of you. You will create the opportunities that will help you achieve your desires as long as you stay focused on your destination. And that is one of the real keys to allowing yourself to create the life that you desire. Being clear about what it is that you're choosing to create in your life and allowing yourself to stay focused on it. And that's what this class is about. It's about helping you have that clarity, having that clarity of what you're choosing to create, why you're choosing to create it, recognizing action steps, and, going through that process. So we actually go through that whole process during the class of setting intentions for your life in all the different areas. And that is one of the most important things, because I had a student in Kazakhstan, and she stood up in class when we were doing that process, and she said, "Mark, I'd just like to share something with the class." And she said, "This is the 4th year in a row that I've taken this class. And this is the reason why I come to this class, because every year when we write down all our intentions," she said, "I achieve everything on my list." And so the next year when I went back to Kazakhstan, she was actually my translator. But it's a really powerful process, and it's really important for you to have that clarity in your own life. What is it that you're choosing to create? Why are you choosing to create it? Right? And then what we do is we go through and we do digging work around, what's the worst thing that can happen to if you do or you don't take action. And that's one of the really important things, because it allows you to recognize what's stopping you from taking the action that you need to in order to achieve your dreams and desires, because action enables reception. The first 2 steps initiated. So having clarity on what it is that you're creating and understanding why you're creating it is the initiation process. And then when you take action, the action enables you to receive. But for many people, they don't have a clear picture of what they're creating, and they're taking action. And all the action that they're putting in is not focused, it's not directed. And that's why they're having so many struggles in their lives. That's why they feel like their manifestations aren't coming together. It's because the first 2 steps have not been completed properly. And that action is just hard work. Everything seems to be hard work. So action is very important, but it's only like the last step in the creation process. It's a really important thing to understand. And then we look at understanding, how to be able to let go of your manifestation. Because if you allow yourself to let go and forget about your manifestation, then you'll allow it into your life really quickly. But the key ingredient is having faith. It's important that you have faith that you know it's yours. See, 16 years ago, when I went for that healing, I didn't walk into that healing thinking, I hope this is going to work. I walked in there knowing it was going to work. And it didn't matter what that practitioner did. I knew I was going to walk out healed. And as a practitioner myself over the years, I've worked with thousands of people. It doesn't matter how good a healer you are. When somebody is ready to heal themselves, they're going to heal. And that's the important thing to understand, because that means that you heal you. You don't need anybody else to heal you. When you are ready to heal and you are ready to change your life, you will heal so quickly. But oftentimes what happens is you do a healing on somebody and that person, I'll give you an example. I had a lady that had back pain and I did a healing on her. And halfway through the session, she stands up and you see like the excitement in her face. She's like, oh my God, Mark, I can't feel any pain. And she starts walking out in and out of my room like she was pacing. About 10 times I said, would you come back here, sit down and stop looking for it? Because that's what happens for a lot of people. All of a sudden that pain's disappeared. And now they're thinking, hey, where's it gone? Like I've lived so many years with this pain. It's got to be here somewhere. And they start trying to find it. And it's really important that when you have that faith, you're going to allow yourself to heal and you're going to move beyond wherever you're at right now. So when you manifest something, when you have faith that it's yours, it just shows up in your life. And that is the key ingredient. And it's about understanding how to build your faith. And the way that you build your faith is through gratitude. And so we do like a really amazing exercise that will change the way you look at your life. But once you start to have gratitude for what is in your life right now, you will feel your energy rise. You will feel your vibration rises. So basically your wealth consciousness will rise when you have gratitude. So if you've ever given a child a gift and they don't like the gift, it makes you feel like, oh, wow, you ungrateful little thing. I'm never going to buy you anything else. But when you give a child a gift and they're so excited about it and they're hugging you and kissing you, you can't wait to go to the shop to buy them something else. And that's how the universe works. So for most people, they're manifesting a new home. And every time they go home to their house, they're opening their door and they're thinking, oh, I hate this damn place. So the universe is thinking, well, maybe you need to stay there a little bit longer. Because if you don't appreciate this one, how are you going to appreciate the new one? So when you have gratitude, what that does is it actually builds your faith. And when you build your faith, you step into that knowing that you already have your desires. And that's what raises your vibration. And so your manifestation will come into your life very quickly. And that's really important. So basically what we do over the 3 days is we go through all of those processes that I've mentioned, plus more. And it's really about creating a mindset for yourself that is an abundance mindset. When you have an abundance mindset, you'll find that good things automatically flow to you. Because if you remember that initial drawing that I drew, the universe is infinitely abundant. The environment is infinitely abundant. There is more than enough of everything that you desire. It's just what you're allowing yourself to experience of that abundance. So when we shift our negative beliefs and we shift our consciousness, all of a sudden we allow abundance to flow into our lives. In Russia, I had a gentleman who came to class, and this was on the first day of class. We dealt with money issues. And he came up to me and he asked me a couple of questions, and I went through and explained a few things and clarified some things for him. That man was there and he didn't have enough money to buy food. And he was going to be there for 3 days. And on the first day, he didn't have any money to buy food. That night, after clearing those things, so he cleared his issues during class. That night, when we finished class, he saw that there was a message on his phone. He listened to the message, and it was one of his students. She said to him, I've got like this big issue that's come up for me. I'm going to need about 5 sessions. She said, I've already paid the money into your bank account. So by the time he'd finished the class, he already had money that day. And then from there, within 6 months, he was able to manifest enough money to take all the theta healing classes. And then the following year, he went to Idaho Falls and he took all the instructor classes. So he went from not having enough money to buy food that evening to creating enough financial success for himself so that he could take all the theta healing classes, not just in Russia, but also in Montana as well. And so you can shift your consciousness in an instant. It is really simple because you are one with the Creator. Everything is possible for you, right? So what we'll do now is I want to go through and give you some downloads around a lot of the things that we've discussed tonight, just so that we can help open up your awareness, right? So okay, so can we give you Creator's perspective on money? And that your perspective is the same as the Creator's perspective on money. And can we teach you that it's safe for you to know and understand that money is just energy? And that it's safe for you to allow that energy into your life. And that you know what it feels like to be comfortable with money. That you know what it feels like being comfortable with more than enough money. And can we teach you the difference between your thoughts, beliefs, feelings, and emotions and the land that you live on? Thoughts, feelings, emotions, and beliefs. So knowing how to disconnect yourself from the energy of the land, that it's safe and possible for you to disconnect your energy from the land. And we'll teach you how to live without being victimized by any of the people that have ruled in your land or that have conquered the land where you live in. Knowing that it's safe for you to disconnect from that consciousness and that it's safe for you to have and experience abundance in the land that you live in. That it's safe for you to have financial abundance where you are. And can we teach you how to live without being victimized by money? Can we teach you how to live without being disempowered by money? And teach you what it feels like to be empowered with money. That it's safe and possible for you to be empowered with money. Teach you what it feels like to be a money magnet. That you know how to receive, accept, and keep large amounts of money. And that it's safe and possible for you to receive, accept, and keep large amounts of money. Okay. And can we also teach you what it feels like to be worthy and deserving of living the life of your dreams? And that it's safe and possible for you to have clarity on the life of your dreams. That you have certainty on what you're choosing to manifest and create in your life. So let's just teach you how to let go of any resentments that you're ready to release about money. teach you that it's safe and possible to let go of feeling guilty for having or desiring more money. And let's teach you what it feels like to know that it's possible for you to have balance in all areas of your life. That you can have abundance in all the areas of your life. Okay, and let's just teach you how to trust that you are one with the Creator. And that it's safe and possible for you to allow your intuition to guide you to create the life of your dreams. That you're allowed to recognize your intuition and use that for positive gain in your life. And let's just teach you how to recognize your purpose, and that it's safe and possible for you to live your purpose. Okay, and let's just teach you how to be clear about what you are manifesting, and that you know and understand why you're choosing to manifest those things. And let's just teach you that it's safe and possible for you to take positive action towards achieving your goals and dreams. And that you know what it feels like to be excited to take action towards achieving your manifestations. And let's just teach you what it feels like to love and appreciate yourself. And that you can see yourself through the eyes of the Creator. And teach you what it feels like to have gratitude for everything that you have in your life right now. And that you can have gratitude for all of your desires coming into fruition now. Let's just teach you what it feels like to have gratitude for all the money that you currently have. And have gratitude for the money that is coming to you. And can we teach you what it feels like to have self-belief, to know that you are amazing, and to know that everything is possible for you, and that you know what it feels like to be supported by the Creator, and that you are supported by the Creator. And also that you know that anything that you choose is possible for you. That you are one with the Creator and that you have infinite possibilities in every moment. And let's just teach you what it feels like to know that you make the right choices. To know that you make positive choices that help you achieve your goals and dreams. And that you can have wealth and abundance without being judged. And can we also teach you what it feels like to accept yourself for who you are right now, and to appreciate yourself for who you are right now, and to recognize the possibilities for yourself right now. And that you can recognize new opportunities and that you take action towards those opportunities and you make the most of the opportunities that are presented to you. Cool. So now we'll just fill every cell of your bodies with unconditional love. Okay, cool. So I believe we've got some questions.
Yeah, there's just one question actually. I think everybody seems to have really understood, you explained so well. So this question came a little earlier in the day. What it says is, what is the approach you are in the wealth consciousness and mindset, however, your spouse or business partner is not. And your husband and wife, and the wish is for the whole family to be wealthy, whether one of the partners is more on scarcity side. So how to manage that so the whole family or business reach abundance?
That's a great question, because a lot of people have that experience. One of the things for me personally was, I've been married now for 23 years. And one of the things in the early years of our relationship was every time I felt like I was doing really well, I felt like my wife was in a bad mood and she was negative. And then when she was doing really well and she was really positive, I was negative. And so it always felt like we were against each other. So what's really important in that situation, and regardless of who it is, whether it's your partner, whether it's a business partner, all you can do is heal yourself, right? And the first thing that you do is you work on how it makes you feel that your partner, whether it's business partner or relationship partner, is negative and against you. As long as you believe that they're more powerful than you, then you'll let them affect your manifestations. If you believe that their manifestations are stronger than yours, then you'll let them drag you down. But see, here's what happens. If you're trying to convince somebody else to be positive, that doesn't work. All you can do in that situation is focus on yourself. You focus on you, on being positive and staying positive. And the time that you're spending with negative people, make sure you spend more time with positive people. And, spending that positive time could be reading books or listening to audiobooks. I always listen to audiobooks all the time. So I'm constantly feeding myself with positive information. So what you do is you just focus on you, and then they will start seeing the change in you. And once that abundance starts to grow, then they're going to grow with you. And if they don't grow with you, then they'll leave and the right person will come along. All you can do is focus on yourself. Stop trying to fix everybody else around you. You focus on you, but just make sure you don't have any beliefs that their manifestations are stronger than you, or that their energy is stronger than yours. Because if that's the case, then you're going to limit yourself. So deal with those issues, but just allow yourself to stay focused on yourself. Why are you doing what you're doing? Allow yourself to keep that as your focus. Remember, keep your focus on your destination. And then that's just an obstacle. That's a speed hump. It won't be a big deal unless you allow it to be a big deal. So stop focusing on what they're doing and start focusing on yourself. How can I grow in this moment? So if we are the one that is more enlightened or has a greater awareness, then we need to act that way. We need to step out of that mindset of thinking that somebody else is going to bring us down. We need to allow ourselves to be in that positive state and say, okay, I can help them up if they choose to. But the way to help somebody else up is to change you and let them see the changes in you, and then they will come running to you. Just like 16 years ago when I was sick and then I had my healing, I went home to family, and I'm the youngest of 4. My wife is the youngest of 9. So we've got a lot of family, majority of them are married as well. So there's partners in there too. So I was very busy doing healings on family because they looked at me and said, whatever you've got, can we have some too? So when you focus on you, they will see the changes in you. And when they see those positive changes, they will come to you and ask you for help. So it's really important that you stay focused on your vision. Don't allow somebody else to drag you down, because nobody can drag you down unless you let them. And that's really important to know. Nobody can affect your energy unless you let them. So you keep focused on you and you deal with it. You deal with those issues about them being more powerful than you. But also what you do is you work on it, you dig on it. How does it make me feel that my partner is against me? How does it make me feel that my partner is, negative or has a scarcity mentality? You dig on those things, because all you can do is heal you. You can't fix anybody else. They choose to fix themselves. But the best way to do it is to heal yourself, and that will allow them to change. Okay.
There's one more question. We talked about how our energy manifests things from the universe. Basically, if we are in lack, we manifest lack. Essentially, it's based on law of attraction. How do other laws like law of cause and effect, karma, factor in our manifestations along with law of attraction?
Yeah, so the law of cause and effect is a really powerful one, and that's one that's very close to my heart. I work a lot with the law of cause and effect. So one of the things that I do when I manifest is, let's say, for example, I'm manifesting a new car. What I will do is I will go up to the creator, I'll go up to the law of cause and effect, and I will say, okay, well, this is the effect. What's the cause? What do I need to do? What do I need to change to allow myself to experience that effect? And so I more or less work backwards with the law of cause and effect, because the thing is the law of attraction works, absolutely, but the thing is if your belief systems are not supporting what it is that you're attracting, then you're going to attract more of those belief systems. And so I go a lot more detail into the subconscious and how it works and why we actually manifest things, because, if you look at, love, for example, if you've had 10 situations in your life where love was amazing, but you've had 20 situations in your life where love was painful, then what's going to happen is your subconscious is going to associate pain with love, because there was more of that experience. So here's how your subconscious works. It does more to avoid pain than it does to receive pleasure. So if it believes that love is going to be painful, then your subconscious is doing you a favor and keeping you away from love. Even though you're manifesting love and you're manifesting all these positive things and you're doing all of this work towards it, because the subconscious is convinced that that is our truth, it's going to keep attracting that, because the law of attraction attracts the things that are deepest and strongest for you. So it's important to understand how your subconscious works. And when you recognize the perception or misperception that your subconscious has, then you can start getting the law of attraction to work for you in the way that you desire it. But it's really important that you're releasing the blocks that are allowing the law of attraction to continue giving you the results that you're getting, right? And the only way that you're going to receive your manifestations and bring your manifestations into your life is if you change. The only way anything happens in your life is through change. If you keep doing the same things that you've been doing, you'll keep getting the same results you've been getting. So it's really important that you allow yourself to change, embrace change, because for a lot of humans, the idea of change is a scary thing. And it's really important to let go of that fear of change. One of the biggest fears that humans have is the fear of death. But see, I had like one of those near-death experiences, and I've spoken with Vianna about it as well, because she's had those experiences too. And when you've had that sort of experience, your look on life really changes. But let me explain something to you about death, right? So you are a spirit having a physical experience. So if your physical is done, if your mind is done with this physical world and wants to leave, but the spirit is not ready to leave and it wants to stay, then what can the physical do? Nothing. If the spirit wants to leave and the physical wants to stay, the mind wants to stay, what can the mind do to keep the spirit here? Nothing. And so instead of being worried about death or fearing death, allow yourself to truly live. Allow yourself to be present now and live the moment. Create the life of your dreams, because the fear of death does not help anybody. So any fear that you have is irrational. It's based on a possibility, and the majority of the times it never comes true anyway. But see, your subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is imagined. And that's really important. So when you start going through the process that I've described tonight, and you start working on the issues around that, you will find that the law of attraction is going to work a lot better for you. Because in every moment, the only thing that you can ever do is be the best that you can be in this moment and do something positive that is going to help you feel better about yourself. So you can make a positive choice where you feel better about yourself. But in this moment, you can also make a choice that's going to diminish you. And it doesn't matter which choice you make, that becomes your starting point. But what happens is, with repetition, the subconscious learns new things. So it takes 21 days for us to create a new habit. It takes about 42 days for it to become autonomous. So it becomes like an automatic process. So you can reprogram yourself, but it's important that you're embracing change, because as long as you're doing the same things, you're not learning new things, you're not going to grow. So change is how you're going to allow yourself to grow, but let go of your fears, let go of the worries about things. So when you're being present in this moment and you're doing something positive, then what you're doing is you're creating a cause. And that cause goes out there, and because it's positive, it will come back to you in a positive way. When you do something that is negative, then that effect is going to come back to you in a negative way. So whatever it is that you're manifesting, if you're coming from a pure energy and a loving energy, then the law of cause and effect is going to work with the law of attraction, and you're going to bring your manifestations into your life in the most beautiful way. And it's going to be in a way where you can actually make a positive difference in a lot of other people's lives. And that's really what we're here for. That's the main purpose for all of us, is to be the best that we can be and make a positive difference in other people's lives. Because when I was younger, all I wanted to do was create success so that I could be rich and I didn't have to work again. And the more success that I created in my life, the more I realized that I actually love the work that I do and I love helping people. So the more success I created, the less it became about me, and it became about making a positive difference in other people's lives. And that's what you'll see too, because it is really rewarding when you're helping people, when you're making a positive difference in people's lives. And, as theta healers, we've all done healings on people and they've had positive effects, and it feels amazing. And so if you're in an industry that is not related to healing, when you do something good and you help somebody in that industry, you feel amazing too. And so it doesn't matter what business you're in, you can be still making a positive difference in people's lives and allowing yourself to work with the law of cause and effect in a positive way. And that's really important.